House lawmakers will vote on Friday on whether to re-elect Speaker Mike Johnson. And though President-elect Trump has thrown his support behind the incumbent, it's far from a certain victory. Here to discuss, we got our very own political columnist, Rick Newman. Rick, always a joy to speak with you. So talk me through what your anticipation is of this vote. I know we still have some Republican lawmakers that are holdouts for Johnson. How hard does that make his path to victory?
Well, he can only afford to lose one vote, and it looks like he is going to lose one vote. So the way this works is all the Democrats are going to vote for their own leader, Hakeem Jeffries. So Mike Johnson's not going to get any Democratic votes, and the margin is so thin that if he loses more than one Republican vote, he cannot get reelected. So he has to get every Republican vote he can afford to lose one. And there's one representative from Kentucky, Tom Massie, says he's not going to vote for Johnson. So there are some others who don't like Johnson. The question is whether they're going to come together for the sake of the party and get this done. I think we don't really know. I mean, it's entirely possible for all the preliminary drama that he does get reelected as Speaker and business moves on. But if he does not, we got problems. So just to remind everybody, back in 2023, it was 22 days from the time Republicans ousted Kevin McCarthy as Speaker and settled on Mike Johnson. If it goes that long this time, guess what? That puts us past January 20th, which is Inauguration Day, and Congress probably cannot certify the 2024 election if the House is not in session, and there has to be a Speaker for the House to be in session. So the craziest scenario here is that this remains at an impasse all the way to Inauguration Day, January 20. And just for kicks, I mean, fun trivia, if the Congress cannot certify Trump as a new president, Charles Grassley, who is the Speaker pro tem of the Senate, would become the president for the temporary president, I guess, the interim president. Chuck Grassley's 91 years old, so that would be quite an interesting scenario.
Rick, that would be quite an interesting scenario. I know you're not a future reader, but how likely do you think that is, given that we know Trump would obviously dial up the pushback even more than he already has to get lawmakers to vote for Johnson if that were to be a risk?
I mean, the interesting dynamic here is that Trump can tell most Republicans what to do, but not all Republicans in the House. We saw this with the vote on the temporary spending bill at the end of last year. There were 38 Republicans who did not vote for a bill that Trump wanted them to vote for. He put on social media, I want all Republicans to vote for this bill, and there were 38 who did not. Now, the margin is not going to be that big if Johnson loses. But there are certainly a handful of Republicans who are going to do whatever they want. They're not going to be influenced by Trump on this vote. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I think everybody would prefer that come Monday, Johnson is Speaker, and we just get on with a lot of agenda items. Congress has a lot to do in 2025. But we could start the year and the next Trump administration with another Republican fiasco.